I've gotten so many comments to the extent of, "You're young, you don't know anything. Why do you think you're an expert just because you stopped gambling 2 years ago?" And, I don't think I'm an expert. Let me start by saying that. We're all learning as we're going in this life. But I think that we're most qualified to help the people that we used to be. And I used to really, really struggle with my gambling addiction. And now I'm doing well. I'm coming up on 2 years clean. And honestly, I've had enough of these kinds of comments. So I took them personally. I went out and I picked up a certification just so that I can tell you that my name is Rob and I'm an internationally certified gambling counselor. Not only am I in recovery, but now I've gone through the proper coursework, taken the test, paid the application, and now I can say I'm a certified gambling counselor just so that I can stop getting comments like that telling me that I'm underqualified just because I'm sharing my story. Now, what I want to express throughout the rest of this video is why anyone who is going through this problem has some qualification to speak on it and how you can get the help that you need if you're struggling. So, when I first quit gambling, I didn't know what to do with myself. I had no purpose in my life and I felt quite miserable because everything about my life was tethered to gambling. I got my sense of purpose from it, my sense of community, my challenges in life to overcome, they all stemmed from gambling. And so on November the 12th of 2022, when I lost 6 months worth of my money in 12 hours at a casino, I had decided that I had enough, but I didn't quite know what I needed to do to move forward. I knew that I needed to stop gambling, but I didn't know how to follow through on that and I didn't know how to find anything else in my life that I'd give a shit about. So for me, in the beginning, I was just trying to keep myself busy and keep myself distracted. And to anyone that's done that as their main strategy to stopping gambling, you'll kind of recognize how ridiculous that is. You're just running away from something that's running a lot faster than you and is going to come up and sneak up on you at a random time when your energy's low, when your willpower is low, or when things are going well. I've heard that people's triggers for gambling can range from anything from having too little money to having too much money, to even fighting with a friend or family member, hiding in gambling to not have to deal with the emotion or the trauma. There's lots of reasons that people go back to gambling, but I was going back because it was all I knew. And so when I was in that early phase of recovery, what I really could have used was something like I'm doing right here. I needed to pursue something that made me feel as if I was contributing to others, contributing to society. And regardless of if you guys love or hate the content you're watching right now, me sitting down in front of my phone talking to this camera right now is a service that makes me feel like I'm contributing. Sure, the video quality's not there. Sure, the sound is just getting a little bit better. And my editing, it's a little choppy. But I sit down here every single day because it makes an impact on my life just as much as I hope it makes an impact on someone that needs the help. I didn't need a certification to do this. You don't need a certification to sit down and share your story. Now, what I did gain from going through the certification process was an understanding of what you need to know when you're facing a client or talking to a client that's going through this problem. Now, I knew everything I think that I touched on throughout that process, but it was nice to get the practice and it was nice to confirm that what I was doing before was the right thing. And that for me is basically just saying, hey, what did I need when I first got myself into recovery for a gambling addiction? And I needed someone to talk to, I needed financial controls, and I needed to separate myself from gambling while I pursued something meaningful. And this all together created my treatment plan for myself and now for any clients that I work with. And I'm going to give it to you right here because that's what this is about. It's about providing the solution to the problem for free. The four things that I did to quit gambling and keep myself clean for over the last 620 days, I lose count because it's just not something I keep track of very closely anymore. But what I've done is I found other things to do with my time like this content, like going to the gym, reading, writing, journaling, meditating, pickleball, tennis, keeping my mind and body active while pursuing something that I care about. Anyone can do that. Second, limiting my access to money. When I first quit gambling, I could not have access to a bank account or a debit card because all my gambling was basically done online. Sure, there was a couple casino visits, and the last day was a casino visit, ironically, but the majority was done online, and that's usually where the trigger started for me. So having my family control my bank account made a huge impact on my life because then I just carried cash. And by doing so, I reduced my temptations. And that's what it's about. When you're in recovery for a gambling addiction, you've been through a lot of crap already. But our brains typically tend to forget about that crap and remember the good things. So, in those moments where that happens, those moments of weakness and temptation, we call them gambling urges, we want to make sure that we're prepared ahead of time. And having someone manage your money so that you don't have the bullets to put into the gun to fire at yourself, that makes a huge impact. So I highly recommend talking to a friend or family to do that. I've heard of cards like TrueLink. They have ways to limit your spending. In other countries other than the USA, they have ways that you can put financial transaction blockers on your bank accounts and limit where you're allowed to withdraw. Hopefully that comes to the US pretty soon. The third thing that I did was I had to self exclude from the casinos. You can take that a step further and get something like Gamban to block gambling apps and websites on your devices. But the goal here, and once again, self exclusion is telling the casino, hey, I don't want to play here anymore. Please don't let me. And they legally have to. But the goal here is to make it more difficult for yourself to gamble. That's what it's about. You don't want to have the access to just hit one button and go all the way back on your word. You want to put as many hurdles in the way as possible so that when those temptations come up, you can't act on them right away. Recovery is really just about giving yourself the time and space to say, hey, I don't actually want to make the decision I'm about to make. How can I stop myself instead of compulsively doing it like I used to do? And the fourth thing is going to support group meetings. And you can take that a step further and also attend therapy sessions or call someone like me, I guess, to do counseling sessions on gambling addiction. But basically, you have to build a community for yourself that can keep you accountable. Because in those moments of weakness, if you're all on your own, you go back and nobody knows. But if you have a community, they keep your head on straight and they ask you why you went back. And when you have to explain why you went back, you find out a lot about yourself, about your triggers, and about your purposes in life. I went out and got this certification because I genuinely care about helping the problem gambler because for a really long time, no one was helping me. But the truth is, and I just wanted to express this in video form, you don't need a certification to help someone. If you are doing well in your recovery and you go to a meeting and you see someone struggling, you don't have to go out and spend 6 months getting a certification to help them. You can absolutely do it. If you do want to take it a step further and make it your full time career, then absolutely, by all means, pursue that certification because it's that stamp of approval by an academic institution saying that you know how to talk to people in recovery. I know, and you know, that it's not all about letters behind your name. It's not all about what a piece of paper says, but it's about what it represents. That piece of paper represents work done to help someone that you used to be. And I went out and got it to shut critics like this guy up. But the truth is, I'm just going to keep making this kind of content because it's my way of recovering and hopefully helping you to find your path to recovery. And if there's another certification, I guess I'll go out and get that one too. But with that being said, I want you to check out this video if you're interested in hearing more about my personal story of addiction. And until we figure it all out, let's just keep getting better together, one day at a time.